the meeting to order. Stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Everybody
worried
has
about.
a second. Stay there.
Okay.
Roll call.
Joe Cuson? Hugh Glasgow?
Here.
Sarah Hefner?
Here.
Tony Hendricks?
Here.
Rich Mosinski? Steve Mosinski?
Here.
Brad Adamski?
Do I have a motion to approve last month's minutes? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Is there any more discussion on last month's minutes? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Alright, bank spring.
Okay, so I sent 3 requests out. I got 2 back from Dalton and right-of-way management, so they're still packaged up down there for you to open. And then I made a spreadsheet for us to keep track of the amounts as you open them easier, and the balances for each drain are on that sheet. And the specs you have down there.
Let me start opening.
This is the specs. Here's a sheet that I made for, that means we're in negative on quarter.
You want me to write in the
And
notes right
then,
here?
just because then we can keep track easier as we going through.
Yeah, we can write the
Yeah,
amounts
you
in
can
right
write
there.
it on there easier.
That's a
That's
good
what I
idea.
thought.
Thank you.
We only have
We
2,
had-
correct?
Yeah, that's really good.
We had
idea.
2 bids, yeah.
Okay, our first bid is from Dalton's, and their certificate of insurance is in here, plus their pesticide license, so they're all legit for everything. And okay, each ditch. So the first one is the Behringer ditch. The length is 16,175 feet, is $3,559. Alright, their next bid was on the county line ditch, and that was $29,040, or 29,040 feet, and the bid on that is $6,389. The next bid is the Little Kankakee. It's 23,381 feet, and the bid on that was $5,144. Their next one was the Rodman Ditch, 53,968 feet. That bid was $11,873. The next one is the Warwick Ditch, 23,390 feet, is $6,198. The next one is the O'Hara Ditch. It's 40,663 feet. It's $10,776.
Which one was that?
That was the O'Hara.
10,776.
Correct. And the last one was the Porter Ditch. It's 22,450 feet. Is $5,949. So that was the first bid. Questions? Anybody have any questions on them bids?
Could you give me the total for the Old Ditch?
$59.49. 1 second, and I will. Here is 10,776, and the Rodman ditch is 11,873. Kankakee is 5144. The county line ditch is 6389. And the Behringer ditch was 3559. And the Rodman ditch, which one were you asking? Bull ditch?
Bull ditch, yeah.
Which
I
one?
don't see the Behringer. Oh, I see it's right on top.
Behringer's on
Right
top.
yeah.
Behringer county line. Which one was the bull ditch? 1, 2, 3.
It's right the second one down.
The county line.
Oh no, that's the third.
Third. Little Kankakee. Which one was
The
the?
bull ditch is,
I didn't see the bull ditch, no, bull ditch.
Yeah, I did not see.
Oh, it's not on there. I missed it. Ooh.
Yeah, I was going through looking, and it's not on here.
Okay.
So we'll have to get back with him on that one.
Yeah, I guess.
Or we'll see what the other one brings. See what the other one.
Because they have it on here. Here's the ones they got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 total.
There's 7 here though.
Yeah, so he probably forgot
But he's got 7 bids.
that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The county line of Cake.
Oh,
You know
unless
what?
he's
He's
calling
got
this
Warwick on
Warwick.
there.
That should be
And when you
the.
said that, I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
remember putting the Warwick out for bids.
So I'm wondering if
Warwick,
that
that's
should
what I
be
couldn't
the
find it.
Rodman
Put
or
Warwick
the
out.
bull ditch.
Well, is the length the same?
It's Warwick's
Mm.
23,390. What's that one? 23,390. That's what it is. He just missed. That shit's the
Yeah.
Warwick,
When you said that, I was like, I don't remember doing Warwick.
but same length, right?
Yeah, so
23.
so that's the
390.
Warwick.
Yeah, the
we're
bull
gonna
ditch. Assume that for right now.
Until I check with him. Yeah, because
And
if he's
that
got the
total,
same distance. that probably
So the bull ditch was the 6198.
what
Where
is
I
it?
said Warwick. 6198.
Thanks.
So assume that until we hear from him,
Yeah,
correct?
because we'll see what.
Or confirm it before, yeah, if you end up awarding the bid, confirm it.
Yeah.
Confirming it first. Okay. So now for the second bid was from the right-of-way management. Okay, so the first one, length of feet was 16,175. This is a Behringer ditch. Was 49,0560.
4,900
$4,905.60.
for the Behringer.
Yes. The bull ditch, 23,390 feet, was 5,847.50.
Sorry.
5,847.50.
And that was for the bull.
Yes.
Okay, so he's got the bull on his.
Yes.
Okay.
The county line ditch was 29,040 feet, and it's $9,106.94. Okay, so now the Little Kankakee, 23,381 feet, is $7,231.48. The next one is the O'Hara ditch, 40,663 feet, and the price of that was $11,841.07. The next one is the Porter ditch, which was 22,450 feet, and the price of that was $5,612.50. The last one was the Rodman ditch, which was 53,968 feet, and the price of that was $15,111.04. So I went through the feet, and all the feet match up, and including that on the bull. So he must have just had a little brain lapse there. So on our balance sheet on the left is everything that is available in that fund, correct? And the Porter ditch is in the red, is what you're telling us. So we're short in the Porter ditch $32,394. That way you see, that right there. So do we have any discussion on, do you want to do one ditch at a time, one at a time?
Well, right away is a little better on 2 ditches.
Is your mic on? It's not on up there. Just push the big one. Oh, it's not coming on.
Maybe you could switch yours over?
There we go.
All right.
Okay, what was your question?
So right away is low bidder on 2 ditches, and Dalton is low bidder on all the rest, the other 5. But right away is lower by like $600. We might consider just going with Dalton on all of them. And then we still have the question of the funds in the individual ditches. I'm not sure that we want to do, say, the Porter ditch.
Yeah, I have balances on that sheet
That's this one right here.
of what's in there, and
These are the balances of
we
what's
should have
left.
enough in all those drains to cover all the projects except for the Porter. Now, if you want to do the Porter, we'd have to take that money out of the general drain improvement fund, and it'll just add on to the deficit.
There is money in the general fund that we could use.
Yeah, if we're only talking
$5,900 or something like that.
Yeah, I got enough in there to cover that.
So we could make the motion with using the money out of the general fund to pay that. That way we can do them all at the same time.
I would like to do the Porter ditch because last time we cleaned it was some $60,000, and if it hadn't been for the trees, it would have been half or less of that than that. And it's been 3 years since we cleaned the Porter, and the trees are primed for spraying now. If we wait another 2 years, probably can't control them.
Yeah, they won't spray them if they're out of control. They'll want a debrushing before they come in and spray anything, because we ran into that problem on the bull ditch.
So
Years
were you
ago.
making a motion to accept Dalton and using the money out of the general fund for the Porter?
Yeah, I'd like to. Looks like all the other funds are more than adequate, right?
Correct. The only one would be the Rodman. We're just short maybe like $100 if you went with Dalton.
Oh, there should be a whole bunch of money in the Rodman.
Okay.
Isn't it like 100?
Oh, it's 111. Sorry, I did 11,000.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Well, that bank spraying's well worth it, in my opinion. If we can get it done on time. There's always a hassle with that. You have to send letters out, don't you, now?
Yeah, anybody want to help? Yeah, I always have to send those letters out. Yeah, that's...
And is that an absolute thing? I'm asking the attorney because, I mean, we do have a right-of-way there.
I've done it before. I've done it the last couple of years because we had problems before.
Yeah, I think just following previous procedure, we should still do that. I mean, whether it's required or not, by the strict letter of the law, we've established a precedent that we do that. We don't want to back off
Does
of
that
it.
have to be a certified letter or just,
Just notice.
Class.
Right, we're not looking for proof of service. We're doing it technically as a courtesy to the landowners. But again, it's a procedure we've established.
how many letters do you have to send out?
Well, I've done it the last couple of years, ever since we had problems before, and I mean, I'm in the hundreds.
Hundreds.
But yeah, I mean, I'll get my intern on it as soon as I get one.
Is there a time frame that they would go out and do this?
Well, they usually start. Well, does it say that he's doing a foliar application? I'm going to assume so. So they'll start as soon as the leaves pop out in like May, June. I think last year they didn't get out to like July. But since, if he's gonna do all of them, yeah, he's gonna have to keep a tight schedule, so.
Yeah, because he said he would do all the brush up to 15 feet.
Okay. Yeah, so they'll do, as soon as all the leaves pop out, then that's when they go out.
Yeah, it doesn't say when.
Yeah, I usually get them nailed down to a time when he knows closer to about when he's gonna go, because it always depends on what time, when, everything greens up.
And I'm assuming they're going to be using pretty much the same chemical like the right-of-way. He put in what he's using, but Dalton did not.
Okay. Is it in his packet, what he's, because they have to include their license.
All their licenses are in there.
Does it say in there? It's usually about the same 3 or 4.
And usually these licenses are the guys that will be spraying. That's their license.
Yeah, they have to have
their
a
pesticide license.
They have to have a
But it
state
does
license.
not say.
It's usually like Garland, was it like
I would assume Garland
3A or 4A?
Garland
or
3A
3A, yeah.
is what the right-of-way was. But Dalton did not have anything in his.
I have the information in my office, what he applies, if you guys need
I would
to know that,
assume
can
it
find out.
have to be pretty close
It's
to the
usually about
same.
the same thing.
Any
Okay.
more discussion?
I move that we accept the bids from Dalton pending his list of chemicals that he's gonna put on. And also that we borrow for the Porter ditch from another fund to do that.
So we have a motion and a second to accept the Dalton bid and on the Porter ditch, use the money out of the general fund to cover that ditch.
You want to do confirmation too on the Warwick Bowl.
Yes, I was gonna bring that, yeah, we need with also confirming that where he put the Warwick, that is the bull on his paperwork.
So you're gonna have Dalton do all 7
That's what the motion is
Yes.
right now.
pending the,
And we have a second. Is there any more discussion? Does Rich or Joe have a question?
No, I think it makes sense.
Okay, so with no further discussion, all in favor of using Dalton?
With electronic participation, you got to do roll call votes. You got to vote by roll call.
Vote by roll call. Okay, Rich Brzezinski, how do you vote?
Aye.
Joe Cuson?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
You?
In favor?
So the motion has passed to have Dalton do all the bank spraying with using money out of the general fund for the Porter ditch, and also at the same time getting back with Dalton first to make sure that he just misspelled, he should put the Bull ditch where the Warwick ditch was. So motion passed. Okay. We'll move on to Porter ditch.
okay, well, that was still a carryover of that project from a couple months ago where you were gonna decide whether you wanted to award that or not. So we probably should decide yes or no, and then, just because it's been going on for a couple months. And that was where the bids came in at, from Beaver Excavating, Delta 3, Bailey, and Nowatzki, with Bailey being the low bidder of $8,444. Those were opened in January. And then you were just going to decide whether you wanted to go to do the project at all, because the Porter is in the hole
Is it the one down at Kingsford?
with funds.
That's the one at Kingsford Heights, correct?
That's the one at Kingsford Heights, yep.
And is it done already?
I think the landowner has been doing some work. That's from Range Road to Meadowbrook. Boulevard.
Many of the trees are removed,
Yeah, I thought Sovinsky was there working on it.
Yeah, so did
but
you,
there was a complication with the dam on the highway, main road going into Kingford Heights. The county highway was out there. I was there when they were there. They did an outstanding job with what they had. And it was about 4 feet of water held back. Now there's about 2 feet held back. They could not get underneath both those bridges. And it was mentioned that In the past, they've taken a mini excavator, the county highway has, to clear underneath those bridges. There's about 2 feet of water still being held back. I don't think we should clean the Porter ditch because I think this obstruction is right next to where they want to clean it, and that part was cleaned 3 years ago, and I think all the problems are to do with the kids and underneath the highway bridge.
Okay, well, you guys
I
can,
mean, do we want to table it until they get something fixed to get rid of that to get more water to remove out of there?
I would like to see more water out of there, more debris taken out. It's, like, both bridges have obstructions, and I didn't survey it, but it looks like 2 feet of water being held back still. I don't know if Dwayne can get a mini excavator in there, or if we would have to hire one, but I think the money, even if we had to spend money on the Porter ditch, would be better spent on a mini excavator going underneath there than cleaning that quarter-mile ditch upstream.
So what work has been done down there now? Does anybody know? Do you know how much has been done, that the farmer has done?
The only thing I can tell you is I didn't see anything taken out of the ditch as far as the debris, but there were a lot of trees taken off the bank. So that would change the bid anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, depending on what's been done and how stale these
Gonna
bids
be-
become over time, we may have to rebid it.
Rebid
anyhow.
it. That's what I was thinking too.
If
Okay,
that's what the
so-
board chooses to do, so probably,
I probably need a motion to rebid
yeah,
that.
your options at this point are either to table the bids that were open in January, to deny all those bids, and then put it out for rebid after confirmation of what's been done by the county.
Yeah, I think
Or what needs to be done is if there can be an excavator or something out there like Hugh's recommending.
but
But-
those are two separate those are two
That'd be
separate.
two separate
Right,
bid.
but I was just talking about, to get this off the agenda, the
Yeah,
bids that were open in January, you can either table them, and then we bring this up again next month, or you can just decline all the bids, and then if you decide to go forward in the future, we just put it out for rebids, which it sounds like we might have to do anyhow.
If they've done some
Well,
work
I would move that we deny the bids.
and rebid later. Or,
Yeah, we need to look at it again later. The good thing about it is if you're gonna clean the debris out underneath the bridge, you can do it in the middle of summer. You don't have to worry about, nesting birds and things.
so is that a motion that you made?
Yes.
So we have a motion not to accept the bids that we have now and to rebid. And we have a second. Is there any more discussion?
I would like to see Christie or somebody talk to Dwayne Warner
About, see what they can
about
do
what they can do further.
and bring it back to the next meeting.
you have to have roll call bid on that again.
All right, so we have the motion not to accept the bids we have, and we will rebid it later. And then also having Christine get with Dwayne Williamson Warner and go out and look at it and see what they come up with. Is there any other discussion?
No.
Okay. Joe, how do you vote?
Yes.
Rich?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
And Hugh?
Aye.
Okay, motion passed. All right, Travis ditch. Permission to maintain by Gina Leroy, what's that?
Okay, so I got an email from Gina Leroy, who is on the William Travis ditch, which is a drain in Pleasant Township.
Uh-huh.
And she has 35 acres. I'll pass this map down. That is at the headwater of the William Travis when it's an open ditch on 400 East, just west of State Road 4. Like as you're going through Salem Heights, like if you're going down Highway
On the
4.
south side of the road, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a ditch through there called the William Travis. That's an open ditch. That's about right here. And then it goes under 4 and turns into a tile and goes back there. She wants to clean that open ditch through the adjacent property owners, which she's working with them to get permission and all that to clean through there. She's going to do it at her expense on the adjoiner's property. I've already sent her the hold harmless indemnity agreement. And she was filling that out and going to get it back to me by today, but she didn't for whatever reason. So when it comes back to me, I can forward it on to Brad, but she wants to clean the ditch through the neighbors, with the condition of the agreement being satisfied.
And it is a assessed ditch that we take care of?
It's regulated, but there's no assessment on it. So it's under our jurisdiction, but we don't have funding to do any maintenance ourselves. So she's looking for permission to clean, based on fulfilling the hold harmless agreement.
I should have them.
Well,
Yeah.
I move that we give her permission pending the hold harmless agreement to clean the William Travis section.
Yep.
Has, I guess, well, the motion's made, we'll wait for the action on the motion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve letting her do the ditch with the harmless
Has,
agreement.
has anybody from your office been down to look at the ditch to see what needs to be done?
No, I've only talked to her through the email, so I need to go out and look at it.
I think we'd want somebody from the county to inspect it before we just have somebody.
And make sure we talk to the neighbor to make sure they're all okay with it. I'd hate to do it and then the neighbor come back and say they never heard anything.
Right.
That might not be good.
Is there a restriction on time frame, Tony, as to when you can clean a ditch like that?
No,
Nope.
not for maintenance.
Okay.
Do we have any more discussion?
I think I would like to withdraw my motion, look at it next month, after somebody looks at it.
Okay.
Okay, so Hugh withdrew his motion. Who second? Withdrew their second? So we'll table this to the next meeting, let somebody look at it
Okay.
and come back and let us know. Maybe by that time we can talk to her and the neighbor and make sure everything's good.
And maybe by that time she's got the hold harmless indemnity
Yeah.
agreement in as well, so.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Cook Ditch.
Okay, that is an application from NIPSCO to replace a pole on the west side of Cook Ditch. The project will take place within the Cook Ditch easement. New pole will be installed directly next to existing pole. And they have a starting date of mid to late March and a completion date of late March or early April of this year. And here is a map of where they're doing this. So it's on the west side of 421. This is south of La Crosse at 2100 South, where the Cook Ditch runs north and south and crosses 2100 South. That's the work location.
And they're just putting a new pole right next to the old pole, taking the old pole off, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, new pole will be installed directly next to existing pole.
Those poles are
Should be
leaning,
no problem.
those poles are leaning down there.
You need a motion for that? Do we, Brad, would we need a motion for that or just,
Are they just coming forward with notice, or are they requesting permission to work on the easement?
Machine working these.
just
Yeah.
permission to work on the easement?
With
So-
our standard application.
So you need a motion to approve.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Sure, I'll make that motion.
So we have a motion to approve letting NIPSCO replace the pole down at the Cook Ditch.
Kusan second.
Kusan seconded it. Is there any other discussion? Okay, Joe, how do you vote?
Aye.
Rich? Sarah?
Aye.
And Hugh?
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay. We'll move on to monthly reports. Hudson Lake, do you have anything to report today?
Yes, I do. Georgette Joyce, 7299 East Hudson Point Road, Lane, New Carlisle. So we had applied for a LAIR grant to do dredging in along the South Channel and some properties, and unfortunately we did not get it. We just found that out this week. But the DNR person who gave us the news said they would work with us to try to construct a dredging grant for next year that maybe will be more successful. We probably were overly ambitious because we went for the gold. The most they allow to apply for is 100,000 that they would have, and we went for 125, so we would get the whole thing because the South Channel is quite long. So maybe that was, but we'll find out because I didn't have a chance to check back with that. And I did reach out to the DNR lead for the drain management, but they're still in conversation. And when I checked with Christine, they had not gotten back to her either. That's for the Hudson Conservation Association, Hudson Lake Conservation Association, to take over the management of the drain if they choose. Otherwise, everything seems to be status quo. Just FYI, there was an approval for the grant application by the sewer district to reach out to get funding for that, for the Saugony and Hudson Lake area. That's just one of the steps, because then you have to get the grant, then you have to approve the project and everything. So I think they were going to do public meetings shortly. So that's a scoop on Hudson Lake.
All right, thank you. Did anybody have any questions for her while she was up? Apparently not. Thank you. Brad Adamski, attorney report.
No direct report, but maybe a little clarification as we move forward after the expiration of the emergency order downstate, as we move forward with further meetings. The county has adopted a policy which is kind of a restatement of state law 2 that says that a person can participate electronically or via Zoom. They're not supposed to do it more than 2 meetings at a time, and no more than, and they have to attend at least 50% of meetings in person as well. There are some exceptions for that, for illness and emergency. The other exceptions that come in, they can still count for a quorum, but you still have to have at least 50% of the members physically present as well. So I guess theoretically, if one of you weren't here today, we still would have been fine. We have 2 electronic, 2 in person. That would be 50%. That's enough to establish a quorum as well with the electronic. There are some other requirements, as you saw today, with the roll call voting, and then some stuff that's got to go in the minutes when Christine marks that down, who was present, how they were present. Ultimately, it's kind of a hybrid as we're coming out of the kind of the health concerns that we've all been dealing with for the last 2 years. We've also got a transparency that comes out, and plus an access to the public that I think there's a lot of positives that have come out of virtual meetings that allow people to attend that wouldn't otherwise have been able to. So it's kind of a balancing of that between being transparent but also being open and accessible to the public. So if anybody's got any questions on that, I'd be happy to answer, but I think we're moving forward.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Brad? All right. Tony, surveyor report.
We had the Kankakee River Basin Technical Advisory Commission meeting in Hannah, which was well attended electronically and in person, and it was a very heavy loaded agenda, which took a long time, but we did a lot of things. So the highlights are the work on the Yellow River, working east from the state line, or from the line between Marshall and Stark County, is moving another project east further, I think about a mile, and that will be bid out here shortly. They had an on-site meeting, and then they're going to move in smaller projects, and they're going to move from the tail end of that project to something smaller, so the funds aren't used up as quickly, and we could look at budgeting for those. And then another test project further towards Knox, and then they're redoing the permits for our, what do we have, sand traps, various areas around the Yellow and the Kankakee. And what else is Scott working on? Just a whole bunch of agendas. Trees, the dead trees, the leaning trees and the dead trees are coming out by Al Alsop. They're working on the next phase, which was funded by the Kankakee River Basin Commission. And Christy and Scott and lots of others are working on the emergency management plan through the Army Corps
to make sure when something happens, we know who to call and where to call and what kind of equipment to get, instead of just running around hoping friends tell us what to do and how we can get something done. And then we have an emergency management plan. We could start using that to actually get some funds from FEMA or the federal government for grants to institute that emergency management plan. So we know what's going to happen when the Yellow gets at different various stages of flood or the Kankakee. And Scott has been working on looking at the upper reaches of the Yellow, which I've never been to. So you're talking about Bremen area. So the upper reaches of the Yellow have something I believe called the Army Ditch that has a high problem of flooding. And they've been looking at that, and that started causing the emergency management plan, because we have to look at everything from the headwaters all the way down to the Indiana-Illinois line. So that's going really well, and a lot of people see a lot of work done in the Kankakee and the Yellow, especially in our end with the leaning trees and the dead trees and the trees that fall in here coming springtime, and the water events we'll have coming up here shortly. We should be able to weather that storm as best we can, as we have lately. And the last thing is Meadowview came in front of the commissioners and the council, the subdivision south here, county north of Kingsbury Creek, and they have been given the funding. That doesn't mean they're approved yet. They have the funding. It's going in front of the commissioners. So we still have to work. The county highway engineer, Jay Sullivan, still has to get the permits for IDEM, Army Corps, DNR, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, and some test monitoring wells in Meadowview, and some test monitoring wells in the farm field to see what kind of underground water is going in there. But in the motion to approve the funding, the council asked somebody, and I presume, I'm hoping the board will allow Brad and probably the commissioner's attorney, Mr. Friedman, to draft some letter with our help stating that the people, so the problem with Meadowview is the natural areas that would have flowed have been impacted over decades and decades by people building out there and improvements, and they're not functioning as well as they could. So now we have a new system going in along 75 to Kingsbury Creek, but the council wants us to send letters to the adjacent, to the owners who are in the path of the natural flow, to ask them to review what they have and look at some ways to possibly put that back to its natural state. We don't have any jurisdiction, we don't have any money. It's a letter to inform them that we have looked at this. The county's going to spend $1.4 million trying to alleviate this. At a minimum, if they would understand there's a natural surface flow area, please stop impacting it, stop filling it in and blocking it up, because it'll just make the problem worse. And I'm talking not just the area south of Meadowview to Kingsbury Creek. These natural flows start all the way from 18th Street in the city of LaPorte. So as anyone south of Meadowview has any more impacts on these surface stormwater flows, potentially it could start affecting the city of LaPorte. So that was the reason for sending them letters saying, we know, I hope you know, when you live out there, most people move out somewhere, they understand that there are impacts to flows across their land that don't just impact them, they could impact a whole bunch of people upstream. So with that, hopefully the board will allow me and Brad and Shaw and somebody from the commissioners to draft some letter to show them that there will be a map and these are the natural flows. Could you please review what's in your property and make sure we're not impacting it at the maximum? If there's any help that the county can give you, can we return it back to its natural state?
Tony, I'm confused. The Kingsbury Creek, doesn't it enter the Kankakee in the former ordinance plant?
Kingsbury Creek goes to Travis.
Yeah, it goes to Traverse.
All goes to the Travis.
It starts way up just south of the airport.
Yeah.
This is the one we
It's
want to own now.
a creek and Spring-fed creek, and very nice natural environmental creek. But
All right.
some of the arms to the Kingsbury Creek, the tributaries, have been impacted by improvements.
And everybody's going.
So-
This is not gonna work.
So
Get IT or something.
it's not a letter we have any jurisdiction for, or we have any enforcement ability, or we have any money, but it's a letter to give them a heads up that I know you moved out here and you've impacted it. Is there any way you could make sure you don't impact it anymore? Is there any way you can help us put it back to where it was? Well, they've built over there a matter of 50 years, and this is not something that's just popped up. It's something that's built up, and now the county's going to do something to put some of it back through some artificial means on 75. So if the board would grant permission to Brad and me and Shaw Friedman and someone from the commissioners and Jay Sullivan to write this letter and probably come back to you with this letter to make sure it's something you want to send out.
So the Kingsbury Creek is a natural stream, one of the few we have, right, in the county? It's not...
It's not dug, it's not man-made, natural, spring-fed, lots of surface water comes in there during the storms, but runs all the time because it's spring-fed.
Pretty fast.
Just to cut in real quick, the version of Zoom that I was using, which was through your account, which this is not gonna be
Use your
a
microphone.
sustainable because now I was on a 1 hour time limit and Rich and Joe are no longer.
They just got booted.
Everybody got cut off, so I'm sorry. If this is gonna be an ongoing
most all of them
thing
are an
and we
hour.
run over an hour, I'm gonna have some other account to use. I don't know what I'm.
There are other accounts you can set up. They got to be pay accounts.
Yeah.
But the county ordinance doesn't address that. The state ordinance does. The meeting can still continue if there's technological errors, so long as the quorum is still present, which you have. So
Okay,
so we're good.
Good.
But that's just something to keep in mind in the future too.
Okay.
I don't know.
So for the home viewers,
Excuse me,
Dana's
if I
on.
interrupt, I think I might have to just upgrade it because I use it for our town too, the Zoom stuff.
Joe and Commissioner Brzezinski just got booted.
We're gonna have to investigate whose account I'm supposed to be using. I don't.
Well, I thought we were on the county account, but we'll find
thought
out.
we were on the county.
So I don't have it. This was my
Work in
county.
progress.
There's not enough
Work in
of
progress, yes. So we probably should have a motion to accept, to have you work together with the county.
Yeah, I think the motion is just for the drainage board to join in the county's efforts that Tony just described as far as noticing the property owners.
And bring it back to you before we submit to Tracy.
Before we
I
submit
think
it.
it's good, yeah.
You make that motion?
I'm not sure how to word it.
Just gonna say, make the motion that Tony just, So we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, so a motion and a second. The discussion, it would be, Tony would get with the two attorneys and the commissioners
And Jay Sullivan.
and Jay Sullivan to go over
Could I ask a
flow of the water.
Yes.
Why are, I know this is probably not a smart question, but why do they allow people to build in places like this where you've got natural water flows that are not going to stop? Can we make any regulations against it? I know we can't, but
No, I don't think anyone makes regulations about these. These are not, they're not waters of the U.S. They are not regulated under this board. They are not regulated under the Plan Commission. These are natural areas that may flow once in a while, surface water, and people just don't understand that they're low areas that naturally drain.
I know that we can't regulate the water, but can't we regulate people's places to build their houses? Can't we say, no, this is not a wise place to build?
I don't think we can because the Plan Commission through the Building Commissioner would have to be in the joint zoning ordinance, and there's nothing in the ordinance that would tell you to recognize this and tell them they can't build on there.
That was going to be my response, is that from the drainage board's perspective, no, there's nothing.
We can,
There might be something other boards can do, but it wouldn't be,
Yeah,
it
other
wouldn't be
boards
our
then.
jurisdiction to opine or to direct
I don't
that.
think there's anything unless the county's joint zoning ordinance explicitly, I don't think there's any vehicle to stop them right now.
It's foolish.
And here we are.
Bottom line, it's not a regulated ditch.
right.
Not even a regulated waterway
Mhm.
of any sense, not even the waters of the U.S. at this point.
So we have a motion and a second. Now we can say aye because the other two are off Zoom. All in favor, say aye.
I
Opposed? Motion passed.
And that completes my report.
Thank you. Claims, or joint board report. Let's jump to that first. Joint board. Any joint board reports?
Nope.
Now we'll go to claims.
Okay, before claims, I got one other quick report that came up after the agenda went out. I got a call from the farmer about some trees that are down in the Little Kankakee River on 350 South in Fish Lake. So I went out and looked at that, and there are some trees that are in the channel that need to come out. So if you want to give me the motion to put that out for bid, to have those trees removed from the channel, to come back for April, I have money in that fund also.
Yeah, there's money there.
I move we put that out for bid.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to put the little Kankakee out to bid on 350 South down by Fish Lake.
Yep.
How big a area? I mean, is it quite large or
No, actually I got some pictures if you want to, there's just a few trees.
just a few trees?
North and south of, hold on, I'll show you some pictures if you want to see them.
I mean, what are you thinking the price would be? Do we want to
It's not gonna be that much.
just, if it's a minimal amount, if she gets the bid, to go ahead and accept, letting her get it done?
Like here's, it's like that tree, that's on the north side of the bridge, but it's kind of in the channel, so.
It's like a minimal amount. Probably talking $500-600 probably.
Yeah, a couple grand at the most. I
Grand.
mean, with gas up, just to mobilize, I mean, we might be, $1,000, $1,500, I don't.
No, I move, well, how about we set a price on it, $3,000. If it's less than that, just go ahead.
And get it done.
Okay.
So he amended his motion saying that to get it done, if the price is less than $3,000, to go ahead and
I would
get
think
it taken care of.
I would think
Do
it
you
should be less
second
than
that
that.
amendment?
I will second it.
She seconds that.
And you're gonna send this out to 2 different bidders at least, right?
Yeah.
I can send it to everybody on my list,
Okay.
which is
Yeah.
about 30 people at this point.
Yep. So
Okay.
all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passed.
Okay, and then for claims, Butch Smith from B&D Farm Excavating removed those trees on the Jim White property that's on the Schurz ditch that came up a month or two ago. So that, his estimate was $1,000. So he got those willow trees out on the Schurz that we talked about, Hugh. So that job's done and everybody's happy. And I have money in the Schurz ditch fund to cover that.
Do I have a motion to pay, is it Butch, what's,
B&D Farm Excavating,
Farm
and the amount is $1,000.
I will make that motion.
we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passed. Is that the only claim you had?
Yep, that's all I got.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Do we have any more public comment? Which does not look like.
This is,
Diane.
Yeah, she was able to get back
Oh.
in, so I'm not sure what happened
Who's on?
to Joe and, because I had to restart
Oh,
it
okay.
and then.
Yeah.
can I get on?
Yep.
Yeah, you're on.
You're on.
Oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't quite understand if it was public comments or commission comments.
Public.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to let you know about Michiana Shores, that one of the home that is immediately to the east of the Pokagon Little Bridge, and they're south of the ditch. They've got a tree that is like leaning across down into the water, but it's not in the water yet. So I spoke with the homeowner, and the homeowner told me that he's going to try to just pull it out himself. I don't know if it's succeed or not, but I just wanted to let you know in case somebody else has something, that there's a tree that's fallen in, that, or aware of it. I've talked to him, and I may ask Mick Wolf to see if he can help him, pull it out if he can't do it himself. Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more public comment? All right, the next meeting will be Tuesday, April 12th, here at the complex. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Meeting is adjourned.